How did you get to know them, Anthrax guys?
Well, I've been a huge Anthrax fan forever, you know. Growing up, they've always been one of my favorite bands, and you know, like the whole New York music scene is very small. The music world in general is very small, but we had a lot of the same friends.
Okay.
And you know, I definitely wasn't shy about letting those guys know I wanted to play with them. You know.
Was it a dream come true then for you?
Yeah, totally. It was surreal. I remember the first few shows, you know, on stage with Anthrax, and looking over, seeing Scott Ian just on the other side. It was insane,
yeah.
You know.
But why did you decide then to go ahead? Because you also played the Big Four, and now you're in Volbeat. What made you decide? Well, this is now enough for me.
It just got to the point where I felt like I was spinning my wheels, you know, for lack of a better way to say it.
When did you have this idea?
Well, you know, it just boils down to the fact that I never had any creative input, so there was no emotional connection to the music, you know. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or whatever, but it just got to the point where I started feeling like I was going through the motions, and that's a terrible feeling to have when you're playing music. And it's not who I am. I can't do anything in life unless it's, you know, 200%. That's just the way I am. So I knew I needed to do something. I knew I needed to make a change, and it was a really hard emotional time and an emotional decision for me to make, you know.
And how did they take it?
They totally understand. You know, we're still friends. We're still cool. We've hung out a couple of times since this whole thing went down. I think they get it. They understand how I felt and why I felt the way I did, and you know, I think on that level, it's cool. I mean, I hope it is. It seems like it is.
Was Volbeat in the picture then for you, well, as a playing member?
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, I met the Volbeat guys a few years ago, 2010, when my other band, the Damn Things, Volbeat took us on tour in the States, actually, and did some stuff in Europe as well. But that's when I met Volbeat for the first time, and that's when I first was introduced to their music, because you know, I've heard the name back then a million times, but I didn't know the music at all, and I became a fan instantly.
What triggered you in their music?
All the different, I think with Volbeat's music, it's all the different these classic influences all rolled into one and spit out in a different, unique way, and I think that's what makes it a lot of fun. That's what connected with me, you know, at first. I hear the Misfits, I hear Elvis, I hear Metallica, I hear Slayer, I hear all these cool things and in the music, and so it was easy for me to connect with it. But you know, back then in 2010, we flirted with the idea of you know, maybe one day doing a record together, you know, me producing. And it was just at the time, you know, my schedule was so crazy between, you know, it was Damn Things, and then immediately from that it was Anthrax, you know, the Big Four tour, and that got really intense, you know, that whole touring cycle. So, but you know, it was just having a few beers on the bus and talking about things, you know. I didn't know it was actually ever going to happen, you know. But when it all went down with Anthrax, when I decided to move on, these guys were just about to go into the studio, so they called me right away. Michael called me.
Did they know that you quit Anthrax when he called you?
Yeah. It was like either the day of or the next day after the press release, and then 2 days later, I think I was in Copenhagen. It just happened so fast, you know, like tornado.
But did they call you because you said, well, I quit Anthrax, and they knew you had time, or?
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing. You know, they called me. They didn't. I guess they didn't really know if I had time or not. Yeah. For all they knew, I could have had another record booked or something else going on. Yeah. But they called to see if I was available, if I was interested in coming to Denmark to work on the new record, and it was perfect timing.